Long story short, they came in, had us escorted off the property, was going to take over the business. In 3 days, we had the ability to go back in. We borrowed a bunch of money from Charity's dad to pay a lawyer.
For more than a decade, millions of car lovers believed they knew exactly how Bitchin Rides worked. Every episode followed what looked like the perfect formula. A classic car arrived at Kindig-It Design looking tired and forgotten. Dave Kindig came up with an incredible design. His talented team transformed the vehicle piece by piece. Then, by the end of the episode, the finished car rolled out looking like a masterpiece. To viewers, it all seemed effortless. But what if the cameras only showed part of the story? What if the biggest challenges, the longest nights, and the hardest decisions happened after filming stopped? Because according to Dave Kindig, television can only capture a small part of what really happens inside one of America's most famous custom car shops. Today, we are going behind the scenes to discover what TV never showed about Bitchin Rides, and why Dave Kindig's success is even more impressive than most fans realize. When Bitchin Rides first premiered in 2014, it quickly became one of the most popular automotive shows on television. Unlike many other car programs that focused on buying, flipping, and selling vehicles for quick profit, this series was built around craftsmanship. Dave Kindig wasn't interested in shortcuts. His goal was simple: build every car as if it were going to be displayed at one of the biggest custom car shows in the country. That philosophy made the show stand out. Instead of simple repairs, viewers watched complete transformations. Old Mustangs became show-winning classics. Vintage trucks received modern performance while keeping their timeless style. Rare Corvettes, Chevrolets, and hot rods were redesigned with incredible attention to detail. Every finished vehicle looked like a piece of art. Fans loved the custom paint, handcrafted interiors, unique wheels, and beautiful bodywork. But those amazing results also created a misunderstanding. Many viewers believed these incredible cars were built in just a few weeks. The reality was very different. Some projects took several months. Others lasted more than a year. In some cases, unexpected problems forced the team to delay a project even longer. Rust hidden inside the body, damaged frames, missing parts, customer design changes. All of these could completely change the schedule. Television couldn't show months of waiting. Instead, producers compressed everything into a single episode. A restoration that actually took 8 or 10 months might appear to happen in less than an hour. The work was completely real. Only the timeline was different. And that's something many fans never realized. Another thing television couldn't fully capture was the level of perfection Dave expected from every build. For him, good enough was never acceptable. Every panel had to line up perfectly. Every paint finish had to look flawless under bright lights. Every custom part had to fit exactly as planned. One small mistake could mean redoing days or even weeks off work. That attention to detail became the reason Kindig-It Design earned such an incredible reputation. But it also meant every project carried enormous pressure. Customers weren't bringing ordinary cars into the shop. Many were trusting Dave with family heirlooms or dream cars they had owned for decades. Some customers had spent years saving enough money to build the perfect custom vehicle. Dave understood that responsibility. He wasn't simply restoring cars. He was protecting memories. That's a level of pressure viewers rarely saw on television. There was another side of the business that cameras couldn't fully explain. Most people assumed filming the TV show was Dave's full-time job. It wasn't. The television show was only one part of what happened every day. Kindig-It Design was already a busy custom shop long before television arrived. While one vehicle was being filmed for the show, several others were being built without cameras. Customers still expected updates. Suppliers still delivered parts. Employees still worked full schedules. Unexpected problems still appeared. The business never stopped simply because a production crew was inside the building. In fact, filming often had to fit around the needs of the shop, not the other way around. That created a unique challenge. Dave had to satisfy television producers while also making sure every paying customer received the quality they expected. Balancing both worlds wasn't easy. As Bitchin Rides became more successful, Dave's reputation continued to grow. Car enthusiasts from around the world began recognizing his designs instantly. More customers wanted Kindig-built vehicles. The waiting list became longer. Expectations became higher. And every new project had to be even better than the last. Success created opportunities. But it also created pressure. Because when millions of people are watching your work, Every finished car represents your reputation. One disappointing build could damage years of trust. That's why Dave refused to lower his standards, even when deadlines became difficult. He believed quality would always be remembered long after television ratings were forgotten. That philosophy helped turn Kindig-It Design into one of the most respected names in custom car building. But as the show's popularity continued to grow, another challenge quietly appeared. The pressure wasn't just coming from customers anymore. It was coming from television itself. Every season needed bigger builds, better reveals, more exciting stories. The question was no longer whether Dave could build incredible cars. The question became, could he continue doing it while millions of viewers expected every episode to be better than the last? By the time Bitchin Rides became one of the biggest automotive shows on television, many fans believed Dave Kindig had built the perfect business. Every episode ended with another beautiful custom car. The customer smiled. The team celebrated. And everyone drove away happy. But inside Kindig-It Design, reality was far more complicated. Because once the camera stopped rolling, the real work often continued for weeks or even months. Building a custom car isn't like repairing an ordinary vehicle. Every project is completely different. Every customer has a unique vision. And every classic car hides surprises that no one can see until it's taken apart. A vehicle might arrive looking clean on the outside. But once the body is removed, the team could discover severe rust, damaged frame rails, or mechanical problems that completely changed the original plan. Sometimes, rare replacement parts simply didn't exist anymore. Instead of ordering them, the team had to build them by hand. That meant extra hours, extra cost, and even more pressure. These were the kinds of challenges viewers rarely saw. Not because the show was hiding anything, but because television has limited time. Watching a team wait 3 weeks for a custom-made part doesn't make exciting television. So producers focused on the transformation instead of the delays. The result was a fast-paced episode. But behind every 45-minute restoration was hundreds of hours of skilled craftsmanship. Another thing TV couldn't fully capture was the pressure of customer expectations. Once Bitchin Rides became popular, people no longer wanted just a restored classic car. They wanted a Dave Kindig build. And that changed everything. Customers traveled from across the United States, and even other countries to have their dream cars built at Kindig-It Design. Many of them invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. When someone spends that kind of money, expectations become incredibly high. They don't expect a good car. They expect perfection. Dave understood that every finished vehicle represented his reputation. If one customer left disappointed, it could affect years of trust that had been built through hard work. That responsibility stayed with him every day. Unlike many television personalities, Dave couldn't simply finish filming and walk away. The cars still belonged to real customers. The business still had to succeed long after the episode aired. Running the shop also meant managing far more than custom cars. Dave wasn't only a designer. He was a business owner. Every day involved meetings with customers, managing employees, reviewing budgets, approving designs, solving unexpected problems, and making decisions that affected the entire company. While viewers watched him sketch ideas on television, there were dozens of other responsibilities happening behind the scenes. Employees depended on the business. Customers depended on deadlines. Suppliers expected payments. Every decision had real financial consequences. That's something many fans never considered while watching the show. For Dave, television wasn't his career. The custom shop was. The cameras simply followed part of what he already did every day. Another challenge was keeping every build original. After producing hundreds of custom vehicles, creativity becomes much harder. It would have been easy to repeat the same designs, but Dave refused to copy his previous work. He wanted every customer to receive something unique. Sometimes that meant redesigning body panels. Other times it meant creating custom wheels, hand-built interiors, or modern performance upgrades that blended perfectly with classic styling. That constant search for new ideas became one of Kindig-It Design's greatest strengths. But it also made the job more difficult. Every new project had to impress not only the customer but millions of viewers who had already seen years of incredible builds. As the show became more successful, the expectations continued to grow. Each season had to feel bigger than the last. Every reveal had to surprise people. And every finished car had to raise the standard once again. The success of Bitchin Rides also depended on teamwork. Fans became familiar with people like Kevin Sheila and the talented craftsmen working inside the shop. On television, everything looked smooth and organized. But in reality, every department depended on the others. If fabrication changed something, paint had to adjust. If paint found a problem, assembly had to wait. If a customer requested last-minute changes, everyone's schedule changed. Building a custom car is like solving a giant puzzle. Every piece has to fit perfectly before the final product is complete. That's why communication inside the shop was just as important as creativity. Without trust between the team, the quality that made Kindig-It Design famous would have been impossible to maintain. As the years passed, Dave realized something important. People weren't just watching Bitchin Rides because they loved classic cars. They were watching because they trusted the people behind the builds. That trust became the company's greatest achievement. But it also raised one difficult question. What happens when your reputation becomes bigger than the television show itself? Could Dave continue growing his business without depending on weekly TV episodes? Or was Kindig-It Design about to prove that its success had never depended on television in the first place? As the years passed, many fans began noticing something different. New episodes of Bitchin Rides weren't arriving as often as before. Almost immediately, rumors started spreading online. Some people believed the show had been cancelled. Others wondered if Dave Kindig had retired. A few even claimed that Kindig-It Design was slowing down or closing its doors. But the truth was much simpler. While the television schedule changed, Dave never stopped building cars. In fact, the business that viewers had watched for years was still operating every day. Customers continued bringing in classic vehicles. The team continued creating award-winning custom builds. And Dave continued doing what he had always loved, turning ordinary classics into one-of-a-kind masterpieces. That's because television was never the foundation of his success. It was simply a window into a business that already existed. Long before cameras arrived, Dave had spent years building his reputation through quality work. The TV show made him famous around the world, but his craftsmanship is what kept customers coming back. Another thing television rarely showed was how much the company continued to grow outside the show. As Dave's reputation expanded, so did his opportunities. Kindig-It Design became more than a custom shop. It became a respected automotive brand. People wanted more than just custom cars. They wanted Kindig-designed wheels. They wanted official merchandise. They wanted to attend car shows where Dave appeared. Automotive magazines featured his work. Major events invited him to display his latest creations. Fans traveled from across the country just to visit the shop and see the cars in person. That kind of success doesn't happen because of television alone. It happens because people trust the quality behind the name. Dave understood that. He knew television popularity could come and go, but a strong reputation could last for decades. That is why he continued focusing on craftsmanship instead of chasing television fame. Running one of America's most respected custom shops also meant adapting to constant change. Every year, classic cars became more expensive. Original parts became harder to find. Customer expectations continued to rise. Competition in the custom car industry became stronger. Dave could have continued building cars the same way he always had. Instead, he chose to evolve. Modern technology was blended with classic styling. New manufacturing techniques helped improve quality without losing the handcrafted feel that made Kindig-It Design famous. At the same time, Dave stayed true to his original philosophy. Every build still had to feel unique. Every customer still deserved something special. That commitment to originality became one of the biggest reasons the company remained successful, while many other custom shops struggled to keep up. Perhaps the biggest lesson from Dave Kindig's journey is that true success isn't measured by television ratings. It's measured by what remains after the cameras leave. A television show can introduce someone to the world, but it cannot build trust. Only years of consistent work can do that. Today, when people see a Kindig-built car, they recognize it almost instantly. Not because there's a large logo on it, but because of the clean body lines, the flawless paint, the attention to detail, and the creativity behind every design. That signature style has become Dave's greatest achievement. Very few builders reach a point where their work is recognizable without anyone saying their name. Dave Kindig earned that respect through decades of dedication. So, what was the real story that TV never showed? It wasn't a hidden scandal. It wasn't constant drama behind the scenes. And it wasn't the collapse of Bitchin Rides. The real story was much more inspiring. It was about countless late nights spent solving impossible problems. It was about leading a team that refused to accept average work. It was about balancing a successful business while filming one of television's most popular automotive shows. And it was about protecting a reputation that had taken years to build. Those moments rarely made it into an episode. But they were the reason the finished cars looked so extraordinary. Today, Dave Kindig continues designing, building, and inspiring a new generation of custom car enthusiasts. His passion hasn't changed. His standards haven't changed. And his belief that every vehicle deserves world-class craftsmanship hasn't changed either. That's why Kindig-It Design remains one of the most respected names in the automotive world. In the end, Bitchin Rides was never just about restoring old cars. It was about imagination, creativity, hard work, and proving that true craftsmanship can stand the test of time. Maybe that's what television could never fully capture. The finished car was only the ending.